Sometimes, in places of darkness and shadow in this world, there are things waiting for us somewhere on that borderline between legend and reality, and often these things may cross over to encounter us. We must be ready for that engagement. We must stand strong and firm in our resolve to face the unknown, explore the unexplained, and embrace the mystery. The time has come to go, hunting the shadows. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your humble host, Dennis Carroll. I want to welcome everyone out there in podcast land to Hunting the Shadows, episode 39, Reptile Dysfunction, the true nature of the reptilians. We're starting to gather in the grotto here. Let's see what we've got. We've got Midwest here, my good friend Midwest. We've got an interesting show ahead of us next Monday night at 9 o'clock when Gerald and I will venture once more down the road less traveled. And I think Lizzie Borden's waiting there for Lizzie Borden, and some other axe murderers are waiting there for us. And that's going to be on the next episode, Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, found here on the Hunting the Shadows YouTube podcast channel. That's the road less traveled. And Gerald and I are going to be looking for you then, definitely. And next Wednesday, at this very time, same bat channel, same bat time, we may be doing something on, I'm planning on this, perhaps on some of the cults that are out there. We'll get into that later, but definitely this Friday night on Paranormal Point of View will be, the last time we did blessed objects and how you bless objects and stuff like that. This time we're going to talk about some of the cursed objects that you might run into, some of the very famous ones and some that are not so famous. We're going to talk about demon traps, devil snares, and demon traps, okay? So you don't want to miss that Friday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Hunting the Shadows YouTube podcast channel. Absolutely, and we really appreciate you all being here tonight. I want to call out some of you, John Tim Prun, Urso, and the girl in her gong, and MPW, and of course the Midwest is in here, of course, and Ida, and let's see what else we got here. We got Mr. John Fortman. Welcome aboard the Strange Train, everyone. We're going to be riding the Strange Train tonight. Once again, it's left the station. So I'm glad you're all on board with me. We're going to have an interesting hour or so ahead of us. We had a fantastic show. Jessica Jones, my good friend and colleague, Jessica Jones, and I did a fantastic show on her show today. If you didn't get a chance to see it, go check it out. It's on her channel, and as well as on my playlist too. Check it out. We talked about zombies, the different kinds of zombies today. It was very interesting. We had a great time with that, and it was fantastic. So go check it out. Okay, that's Cryptid Huntress, and it was on her show, the Glitch in the Matrix. It was great. That was a very interesting subject, one of my favorites. And, a lot of people don't realize the many different classifications of zombies and how they can come at you. Definitely. So go check that out if you get a chance. And also don't forget that June 26th, now put that on your calendar, 9 o'clock, June 26th, I'm going to be doing my special 2-hour seminar on the Nephilim, the rise of the fallen. And the Nephilim are still with us, DNA-wise. And we're going to get into some of that. We've already talked a lot about the Nephilim. I'm going to talk about the guys that are behind the Nephilim, the fallen ones, sometimes known as demons, sometimes known as fallen angels. We'll get into that. That's going to be the special 2-hour seminar June 26th. That's on a Wednesday night, of course, just at the same time, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you definitely do not want to miss that. It's going to be a great one, I think. And I like to do the seminars. Absolutely. They're one of my favorites. And this is a subject where there is a lot to talk about. Oh, yeah. I want to say hello to Shiro. She just got in here. Yes, ma'am. Shiro's in here. Moon and Noon. Roger Blair. And I just received in the mail today, want to show it to you, the Genesis Conspiracy Part 2. Get out of the light here so you can see it. Gary Wayne. This is the one I've really been interested in getting into because he backs up scripturally a lot of the things he said in Part 1. And I'm very eager to get into this, and I will give you a definite review on it when I do. The guy does not write small books. Okay, he doesn't write pamphlets. This guy's not into that. He does War and Peace just about here. Okay, so it takes a while to get through his books, but he has a lot of very interesting and important information in there. So that makes it go not much further. And definitely, hello, Marie. Good to have you here, my dear. And I want to give a shout out to a very special friend of mine, Aussie Sue, whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday, or it might have been yesterday. She's in Australia. She's a little bit ahead of us, but whatever the case, my dear, happy birthday to you out there. And I hope you had a great one. And I hope you have a lot more to come, okay? That's the best thing you can do is wish people a whole lot more birthdays, okay? Absolutely. Yeah, the girl are gone. Yeah, that's special 2 hours. Let's put that up. Thank you, dear. And I'll put that up. And so everybody can see that. And that's going to be like a 2 hour thing. We'll, of course, like I always do in the standard seminars, I won't be communicating too much during the seminar, but afterwards, we'll get together for about 30 minutes and answer questions or observations or whatever. That's what's your standard thing that you do in seminar. I love that part. I love that. That's my favorite part of all. I present the information, but then I get the feedback on it, and I love that. I really do. Yep. Hello, Rhonda. And anyway, we got a interesting night ahead of us with the reptilians, okay? I think you're going to enjoy this. Now, we have talked about this before in the past, but I've never got too deep into it, or what I figure is the actual true nature of the reptilians. I call it reptile dysfunction, and there is sort of a dysfunction here going on, okay? And we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a little while. But the interesting thing is the reptilians have a lot of history with us. People don't realize this, but they go back, way back into human history. And that's another thing we're going to be definitely talking about tonight with the reptilians. And also got another announcement to make. Just a night full of announcements, okay? And don't forget about the Cryptid Hunters show now. The zombies, that's great. Check it out when you get a chance if you didn't get to see it live. You will be glad you did, okay? It was a great show. I enjoyed it. I always have a fun time with Jessica. She's a great lady. So anyway, the interesting thing about this announcement is I'm going to do something that I've already had a lot of people asking me about over the period of these shows, and that's about merchandising, okay? And I'm going to be offering for donation. We are, after all, a nonprofit organization, okay? For donation, I will be offering you some merchandise very soon. And one of the most popular merchandise things that I will have is the very well-known 7 Archangels medallion, okay? And I'm going to offer it in 3 different ways. Okay, you can get it as a keychain, you can get it as a badge to wear, a brooch-like thing to wear, or you can get it as a necklace, okay? And every one of these, they are all the same price, $9.95. That includes shipping, okay? And if you are interested in acquiring any of these things, please email me at denniswcarroll@gmail.com. Send me your address and I'll get these out to you, okay? But that is a donation of $9.95 for each of these items, okay? And I will have some pictures of these items for you in the future very soon, but I'm getting them in and within the next week or so. So please, if you want the 7 archangels medallion, the star of the 7 archangels, which is a very powerful protective thing. I'm not going to guarantee how protected. I can't do that, unfortunately. But it is for entertainment purposes only, okay, folks. But you might want to consider getting one of these. If you are interested, just drop me a line and let me know. Okay? We'll get you on the list. And also, of course, when you do order an item, you'll get some free stickers with it, okay? You get a little something to go with it. But I'm hoping in the future we'll be offering some of my books for sale, autographed books that you can purchase through that too. So we're gearing up for a little bit of the merchandise stuff, okay, folks? Absolutely. All right, I'm checking my phone. I'm getting some feedback going on here. But anyway, I'm really excited about the merchandise that we're going to be offering. So, how do you donate? $9.95. You send me your well, you can do it. You can do it either way you want to. I'm not going to be taking personal checks, but you can do it with a mail order. I think would be the best, most beneficial way to do it. Mail order would be the way to go. Just a mail order for $9.95. And send it to my address or whatever with your order, and we'll get it back out to you. And if you decide you want the necklace, the keychain, or I like the keychain. It is very thick. It's very thin. But the keychain is good. The necklace is good, and of course the little pins that you can wear. It's just a little pin-on pin that you can wear and put on your coat or whatever. If you decide whichever one you want, they're all the same price. Shipping is included, okay? So anyway, we've got that ready to go as well, okay? All right. So tonight we're gonna be talking about cryptids that are very famous, the reptilians, okay? Now there have been reports over the years and of cryptids being seen around military bases. All right, we're going to talk about that. We're going to address that too. And there are stories and supposed tales of these individual reptilians helping human beings or assisting the military, believe it or not. I know that sounds flaky, but that's true, that they have assisted the military in certain things. And yeah, well, if you want to add a couple of books for that is a good idea, cryptids and hunters. If you want to add a couple of books for shipping, that will be greatly appreciated, because I'm going to try to send these out with a mailer. Okay, you'll want to keep the mailer; it'll be good too. So there is some cost in this. So if you do want to, donate to the cost of the shipping, that's fine too. A couple of dollars for that would be wonderful as well. So maybe if you're looking at $12 for the whole thing, that would be greatly appreciated. Absolutely. And we'll get those out to you. I've got them, I've got all this stuff on order, and it's not here quite yet, but I expect it within the next week or so. Okay. I do have some of the keychains on hand, though, by the way, if anybody is looking at those. But my personal favorite is the necklace. I kind of like that. I like the pin too, though. That's good. You could. I like stuff. You pin stuff on your jacket and all that. That's neat too. Let me tell you a little something before I get into the reptilians about the star of the seven archangels and what makes it so protective. It was supposedly one of the signals used by King Solomon to assist him in fighting demons and getting them under control or whatever. And it's a very, very supposedly protective amulet for that against any kind of darkness or negative energy. That's the way it supposedly works. So there you go. Definitely want to look into that. If you decide you want to, let me know. Like I say, drop me a line at DennisWCarroll@gmail.com. Okay, let me get my banner up, and a lot of the information is in my ticker there. Okay, and you can see how to get in contact with me if you decide you want some of this merchandise. Okay, all right. And like I say, we're a nonprofit organization. This is a donation. Okay, and so the interesting thing about the reptilians, like I said, a lot of people claim that these guys are, of course, aliens from outer space. Okay, there is that factor there that people talk about the reptilians being from some other planet or whatever, along with the Anunnaki and all this stuff. Well, I'm going to be going. This is sort of a prelude tonight to the June 26th 2-hour seminar, okay, because I'm going to be touching on some of this in the seminar, but I'm not going to get too deep into that, okay? And but I'm going to leave that for the seminar. But there is a connection, definitely, to the ancient gods with the reptilians. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the ancient gods before I get into the reptilians. There are many different pantheons of gods. You've got the Viking gods, you've got the Greek gods, you've got the Roman gods. Everybody had their own little bunch of gods. Now, these gods were always looked upon as being giants. And that's where you get the connection of the Nephilim thing going. All these guys were bigger than life, and they were big guys. You see some of these depicted as holding full-grown lions like you would hold a kitten. These were big supposed beings. Now, according to a lot of this stuff that we're going to get into tonight, there is a reason for these things being big. They wanted to appear bigger than life. They wanted to be intimidating. They wanted to be extraordinary in their outlook, because that is how you get people control. I call it people control. You get control over the masses as you want to. And this is a big psychological factor when you think about that. And a lot of this reptilian activity that has been reported over the years has a lot of a psychological factor to it. And let me go back and state this. If you were to meet a reptilian face to face and saw him for what he truly looked like, and not the facade that he's wearing, not the disguise, but if you saw him truly what it is, he would be a very frightening image to you, okay? It would be a very frightening image. It would be like talking to a crocodile or an alligator or some kind of a big iguana lizard or something like a dragon or something. This would be very intimidating to you. It would be very frightening to you. And the reptilians realize that, okay? They know what their appearance and how it has an effect upon human beings. And they utilize that, okay? They will not let you see what they truly look like until they want you to. But sometimes they may show you a little different eye. They may show you what their eyes really look like. Or the tongue may give them away a little bit. Or something else. You might see a little reptilian skin. You might see just a moment when they let down that facade. How are they doing this? There are two ways they could possibly do this. One being that they are spiritual creatures. They can change their appearance and their image or the imagery. We talk about that with the Fae as being glamour. It's a magic light. It's an illusion that they create. Okay? It is not truly real, and yet it is. It's very hard to explain it, but it is a warping and manipulation of reality. And that would be how they would definitely change their appearance. You understand? And that's what connects with the shape-shifting kind of stuff. But if you were to see them in their true appearance, they would be frightening. Well, there is this connection with the demonic, because this is the very same appearance, and I have seen them with my own eyes. Okay, take my word for it. I have seen them. I know they exist, just as real as you and I, just as real as this room around me is. These things do exist, and they are fooling people with their appearance a lot of times. And we talked about this the other day. I think it might have been something I mentioned to Jessica about it. Then all of a sudden, this demon face syndrome thing comes out. Okay, and I had heard about it years ago, but like I said, it was an ultra rare thing. It's a psychosis of the mind, but it's an ultra rare thing. But why all of a sudden did this pop up? I think it was a very convenient excuse for what some people may be truly seeing. They may be seeing the true spiritual nature of these things, okay? And when you look at the reptilian and realize what his true spiritual nature is, it is downright demonic in every way you look at it. And down through history, from the earliest beginning of mankind's history to now, one of the most vivid imagery of the demonic is reptilian. Okay, look how many times the demonic is connected to reptilian. Okay, look at the very famous episode in the Garden of Eden. It wasn't a goat that was talking to Eve. It wasn't a bird. It was what? A snake, a reptile. It was a serpent. This connection is going on down through history. You know, it says a very famous sighting in the book of Genesis, you will bruise his heel and he will bruise your heel and you will bruise his head. And he was talking about stepping on a snake here, folks. Okay. All the way through the Bible, you get this imagery. Snake, 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 serpent, serpent, reptile thing, dragons, the whole works. Why is that? Because there is a definite smoking gun here, folks. There is a definite connection with the demonic and the reptilians. I believe, without a doubt, they are one and the same. Okay? It's just when you see reptilians, you're seeing their true nature. Once upon a time, the fallen were glorious, perfect creatures, wonderful, beautiful angels, but they lost that when they fell. You got to understand, their image is not that anymore. They have gone to an image of corruption, nastiness. They have absolutely gone to imperfection on a large scale and corruption. They are no longer those beautiful creatures that they once were. Sometimes they can fool you and appear that way, but don't, like I've said so many times before, appearances are very, very deceiving. Okay? And when it comes to the reptilians, it is downright deceiving. Absolutely. Now here's some imagery we've got. Sorry, folks. Okay, global satanic reptilian manipulation. Okay, that is a real thing, by the way, but it is demonic. Its origin is demonic, and we have to wonder how many of these so-called aliens that people are seeing are not a demonic imagery concept thing going on here. Okay, you got to wonder about that. You got this too. You got things like this right here. Okay, that's what their true nature truly looks like. If you were to see a real, this is the reason I picked this picture. This is very much what they truly look like here. Look at the red eyes. Look at that. They don't look like, they do resemble a little bit sort of like crocodiles, but they're not like that. They're more like this. They're more serpentine in their appearance. than Komodo dragon, okay? Although there is a resemblance there as well. All right, here's a bunch of the guys right here. Those are sort of a stylized thing of what you would think alien reptilians would look like, but they don't really look as much like that as they do this, okay? And that would be what you would probably see, very much see, if they dropped their illusion and you saw their true nature about it. Now, my favorite reptile, by the way, I was going to throw in this for fun, is this guy. I always did like the creature from the Black Lagoon. Here he is hanging out at the lagoon. He's my favorite reptile, okay? But he's made up, so he's not the real thing. But these guys are the real thing here, okay? And I said this the other day to somebody, there are a lot of reptiles in Washington, D.C. Trust me, folks, I can guarantee you there are. A whole bunch of them. And other governmental places as well, without a doubt. John Fortin said Harvard recently released a statement that aliens may already live among us or have a lunar base. They have been with us for a long time. Now, let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind, okay? And like I say, I'm going to get deeper into this in the seminar, okay? But let me say this. We're talking about angel stuff here, okay? And fallen angels. We're talking about the bad guys. Is it not that far-fetched to you that even the angels have a technology, a celestial, spiritual type technology? I believe without a doubt they do. And I believe also that the fallen demonic entities retain some of their technology, although they use it for bad purposes and not for good. It's not that far-fetched that these things don't have their own celestial mechanics. Okay? You got to think about that a minute, and we'll get into that deeper in the seminar. Okay? That's a little something to tantalize you with. Like the Secret Service agent who was guarding Obama. Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah. Is there a frequency that can make them appear? There are, I think, certain ways and certain incidences where I don't know if it's really what you would say frequencies. It may be sounds, it may be speech, it may be something that we say, and there's a certain frequency in what we say sometimes that can make their appearance glitch. You know what I'm saying? Then it drops that facade for just a moment, and you see what you're. But you know, as I have said before in the past many times, we got to remember this: what is on the inside of a being? Okay, that includes these guys. What is on the inside of a being, whether they be human or not, will always come out eventually. It will show on the outside. Okay? If you're a mean and evil, spiteful, despicable person, you're not going to be able to hide that for very long. Okay? And that's what goes on in the spirituality that you are inside. Always will show up on the outside in one form or another. And that's why I've said so many times in the past, evil always eventually shows its hand. It does that. That's just its nature. That's the way it goes. But you know what? There is a very distinct statement in Scripture, folks. And listen to what I'm about to say. This is what they said. God said, there is nothing that is secret that will not be uncovered. In the end, these evil secrets are going to get out, folks. That's just the way this works. That's just the way God is going to have this work, okay? We're not going to be fooled forever by a lot of this stuff, all right? Absolutely not. Robin said, Dennis, what do you know about the heart of the reptilians? Well, the heart, if you mean the actual physical heart, I think a lot of these things, when they manifest physically, they are as solid as we are. But it's a different kind of a spiritual energy, okay? It's not like a ghost floating around in the mist on the cloud. That's not it. That's not, when people think about spirits, they think about that. But let me tell you this is going to blow your mind. There is a form of spirit. Now, I know this is going to sound weird, but there is a form of spiritual energy that is just as solid as you and I. So they would have a heart. They would have a working mechanisms in them, but they're not on the same level that we are. We are physical. These things are more in the line of immortal spiritual manifestation. Okay. Also, Sue says, they've been showing us always through the movie, cartoons, and they're dropping little hints. Listen, let me say this. It may not be preordained that these hints are being dropped, but I think there's a reason why a lot of these hints are being put forward. Just like I just said, there is nothing that is secret that will not be uncovered. And I think this is a movement of our Creator. I think this is a way for our Creator to send us these little signals, these little bits of information and knowledge, so that we'll know what's going on in this world, or we can at least suspect what we're dealing with here. I think this is a good thing, in a way, that we're being warned, and we were given these little tidbits of information down the line, because that's the best way, listen to this, the best way to get someone to learn something, the best way to give someone's attention is to give them these little hits once in a while. And it soaks better into the consciousness than when you throw the whole thing on them all at one time. You understand what I'm saying? This is brilliant. When you think about it, this is a brilliant way to get your message across to people. And I think it may be that our Creator, God, is giving us this info for a reason. He's letting us know these things, okay? Without a doubt. Hello, Roger. And so we got to remember that may be what's going on. Robin says reptiles more than third density having a hard time as the frequency rises makes them uncomfortable. Because you see, there is a distinct connection between frequency and the spiritual. You can't forget that. There's a distinct connection there. Without a doubt. Remember what Tesla said. You know, the frequency and the energy and all, you got to think in terms of that. And then you have the keys to the universe. There's a vast amount of this universe, especially that other dimension you might remember I talked about on the previous show. That fifth dimension is a spiritual dimension. And it underlines and runs through the whole fabric of our universe and our existence. Okay, when you tap into that spiritual dimension, things get done, strange things happen, all of this goes on. We know without doubt, inside, listen to what I'm about to say, inside the fifth dimension of the spirituality, nothing is impossible. That's the fabric of the fifth dimension, okay? Also, Dennis, I was having nightmares about reptilians when I was having my younger son in 1987. I never knew anything about them until years later. That was a warning for me. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Let me put that up so everybody else could see that. That was probably a spiritual warning. We get these things, folks, time after time after time. Unfortunately, we brush them off and we don't pay attention to them sometimes. But we are being given this information on a personal basis for a reason. And it is a good reason usually because we need this information. What does God also say in the Bible? My people perish from the lack of knowledge. God does not want us to perish because we don't know. He wants us to know. Okay? He wants us to know these things. I believe that without a doubt. The little voice always knows, Robin says. Absolutely. God talks to us sometimes, but it's usually in a small, quiet voice. It's not big thunder. And that's how you get your message across better than the big thunder. It's the little tiny voice that tells you these things. You need to listen to it. But anyway, good night, John. Glad you made it, and you can catch up with the rest of it later on. But anyway, I think this is a lot of what the reptilians about. I do not see them coming. I must only say this, and I'll be talking about this on the seminar. The fallen are aliens, ladies and gentlemen. They're not citizens of Earth. We are. You and I are. We are born of the earth. From out of the dust we arose, and to the dust we will return. We are the earth, and the earth is us. But these beings are not from this earth. They're strangers here in a strange land. They are aliens, without a doubt. And they don't have to be bug-eyed, 8-foot tall, bug-eyed aliens from Alpha Centauri. There may be some of them out there. I'm not saying they're not. Okay, that does not surprise me. I think God made a whole lot of other worlds than just this one, without a doubt, in my mind. I know that for a fact. But what's being tagged and what these things are, the illusion that they're putting forth, we have to be very careful with that. They are trying to fool us, or trying to get us to believe that they are the good guys when they're not. Okay? We've got to be very, very careful about this. And we've got to be careful what we truly believe and understand with our own sensibility and our own spirits. We've got to be very careful, especially when you deal with things like the reptilians, okay? Absolutely. And the girl on the phone says, Hosea 4:6. Yeah, that is good. And let's see what anybody else says. Okay. But anyway, when you get to reptilians, there is a definite, without a doubt. I don't see how you couldn't see it. It's so plain and obvious, especially if you know the things I know. Okay. I'm gonna tell you something, folks, and I'm not here. This is not an ego trip for me. Okay. I hang my ego outside the door when I come in this room. Okay. I got nothing to do with ego and the bragging and all that. But I'm gonna tell you something, folks. I know some things. Okay. I know some things. I know how you can become. I know without a doubt how I could tell you how to become a werewolf, if that's what you wanted, or how to be a true skinwalker. I know how they do it. I could do it if I wanted to, but I'm not going that route, okay? Because it requires some very, very dark juice here, some very dark energy. These things are real, okay? And this is all based in the true factor of the demonic. Okay, because they've got the dark energy power to do this, the dark spiritual power that they can do this with. And if you hook into it, if you cooperate with them, if you sell your very soul to these things, you can also get that power. But what a terrible price you will pay. You will pay a terrible price that you do not want to pay, folks. Okay, but this stuff is real. It's not anything made up. It's not fairy tales. You know, that's what I said on Jessica's show today when we were talking about zombies. You grow up and believe, you know, you were taught when you were a kid that all this stuff's not real. And you grow up and find out that the monsters are real. They are real, just as real as you and I. Sometimes we are the monsters. Okay, that's the bad thing. We don't want to go that route. But these monsters, zombies, werewolves, vampires, they are real. Just as real as I am. And you got to understand there's a reason why they are real. They have a direct line to the demonic. And the fallen are behind every bit of this stuff. And that's what we're going to definitely be talking about on my seminar coming up. Earth has 9 inhabited worlds. There are 10. The 10th is Olympus, God's realm. Each of the 9 worlds has its own physics, yet all exists as physical reality. Some say that, yeah. What do you think of David and his early whistleblowing? I guess you could call him as victim. He had some very interesting stuff going on. I never got a chance to talk to him. I wanted to talk to him. I never got a chance to talk to him, but I did talk to Lon Strickler, who knew David very well. The only problem I had with David was the way he went about some of the things. The way he ascertained some of his imagery and all that. I wanted to talk to him about that, never got a chance to do it. But I have experimented with shooting photography and video through crystals. Now, let me say this. I even got a big crystal ball here sitting on my desk. I got a big one, real solid crystal ball, and it is perfect. It has no blemishes. You got to be careful with those. They'll set your house on fire. Never set one in the sun. Okay, don't ever do that. Anyway, I have shot imagery through these things, and you get some weird distortion going on. And also, there are some factors to it that's almost like you're piercing another reality. It's almost as if you are looking through a portal sometimes. And it's fascinating stuff. I want to do more experimentation on that in the future. But different crystals may produce different factors in that. I'm not going to get into that tonight. That's a show for another time. But crystals are a fascinating thing. Let's see. Let's see. Freaky Geek. How you doing, sir? Okay. But anyway, that's where you get the demonic connection. Because these guys are very dark. They are corrupt. They are imperfection at its finest, you might say. They are evil, dark, negative, spiritual energies that exist in their form. That's basically what they truly are. They're never going to show you their true form. Like I said, it would be frightening. You'd be on guard then. You'd be wondering what you're dealing with then. It's like C.S. Lewis said, if you ever meet anything that's not human, you always feel for your hatchet. You're always ready for the attack, okay? When you deal with something that's not human, things may go sideways very quickly, okay? You can't trust them. You can't trust a whole lot of humans, folks, by the way. That's just the way that goes, too. You have to, you know what? Let me tell you this, the very explicit number one rule of true survival is trust no one. Trust no one or anything, and you might survive. But I know that's kind of harsh, but that's what you got to do to survive. That's the number one rule. Rita is still alive. He knows about the whole history. Well, I have to check that out. But if you get back, like I say, it's so obvious. This demonic connection is so obvious. Let me say one more thing, and I'll be talking about this at seminar. There is, from the moment we are born into this world, we experience filters over our eyes. There's a filter put over us. When that filter, that spiritual filter, is removed and you see things for what they truly are, it is a mind-blowing and mind-opening experience. Okay? When you find out that when that filter is gone, or that filter is dropped for a while, and you see things for what they truly are, you will know why you questioned a lot of things. Okay? The truth is very obvious sometimes, and it's so obvious that you stumble over it and don't see it. But the truth hides in plain sight. Kathleen said, C.S. Lewis helped me survive my childhood. He was brilliant. No wonder he and Tolkien were such good friends. They were men on the same level with each other. Brilliant men. And they were both God-fearing men, too, by the way. Absolutely. When vibrating the right key, yes, crystals are. I think crystals, you got to remember this about crystals. Crystals come from the very heart of the earth in many ways. They are the essential, or you might say, the physical form of the spirituality of the earth itself. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost as if you've got a part of the spirit of the earth when you've got crystal. Crystals have some very extraordinary properties. And I don't think enough of research has been done on that, without doubt. I don't believe enough has been done. Yes, he was brilliant. Brilliant man. Yes, he was. But anyway, it's so obvious. I don't see why people don't see what I see, It's so obvious if you open your eyes up. And I'm not saying to see it through the filter of the Bible alone, or see it through the filter of Scripture and all that. I think your Creator, like I said, these little tidbits are being given to us. We're being fed this information, okay, for a reason. for this time and this period that we're in. We're being fed this information so that we will know it will already be there. The seed of knowledge will already be there for us. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not just, a lot of people say, oh, you're a Bible thumper, all you're talking about is the Bible. No, it's not that alone, although it is a great key to use. It is a roadmap to a lot of these things. And I'm not down in the Bible. That is the Word of God. The Word of God is a spiritual thing. It will stand forever. Okay. But there are other ways that God, our Creator, is working on us too. We got to remember that. But we got to also remember this world does not belong to God anymore. It was stolen. And that's the situation that we're in right now. We're occupied, my friends, by the enemy aliens, okay? The demonic. We are occupied by them, and they are so crafty, so deceitful, so despicably evil that they will never, ever let you see the real truth of the matter if they can help it. They are enemies of truth and light and goodness and positive stuff. They are the true enemies of that, and our enemies too. They are our spiritual enemies, and your spiritual enemies are going to do everything possible under the sun to keep you from having any advantage over them. You've got to remember that. That's how despicable these things are, and how evil and how very intelligent they are too, by the way. Let's see. I think let's see. Where we go here. Big Pharma can't make money off the crystals. No, they would like to, though. I'm sure they would. Yeah. I'll put that up for everybody to see. I'm sure they would if they could make some money. They would definitely be doing it. But it is the one thing. Science will never embrace crystals or anything else like that because it has a spiritual connection, and science does not believe in the spiritual. Okay? But there are sciences that do, my friends. Dark science. And there is a new science being developed by these entities that is a combination of ancient magic and new technology. Like I said, it is not surprising to me that the fallen angels don't have their own technology. Oh, yeah, without doubt, I believe they do. Just like there's celestial others, the real good angels, they have a technology too. Without doubt. And I'm not saying they're flying around in spaceships. I don't know what their technology is, but it's very strange. It's very alien. It's very inhuman. It's not the way we do things, okay? Because you're talking about celestial mechanics here, okay? But it's not that far-fetched that the demonic could not appear in their so-called UFOs or do things like that, or their flying saucer, or whatever they want to do, to fool people into believing something that they want them to believe. You got to remember, like I said before, everything in this world is not what it appears to be. John Foreman says maybe the reptilians are paying the military for assistance. Oh, or it may be the other way around. I guarantee, like I said before, I'm going to say this tonight, folks, and I may get in big trouble for what I'm about to say here, okay? Our government, the governments of this world, are in bed and in league with demonic forces. And let me say this, knowing the demonic the way that I know the demonic, they're the top dog in this situation. The government's not. The demonic never lets you be the real boss, you understand? It never lets you be in control. They're the control freaks. And if the government is in bed, without a doubt, which I believe they are, in bed with these demonic forces, they're not the senior partners, okay? They're not the senior partners. They're in big trouble. I think some of them realize that. That's what happens when you deal with the demonic. and you go into contracts with the demonic, or you go in league with them, or you sell your soul over to them, or whatever situation is, they're going to come out on top. They're like the house casino. They're going to always win. You're going to be always ending up, as we say in the South, with the short end of the stick. That's just the way these forces work. They're going to win over you no matter what. Come hell or high water. They're going to win, not you. Then no matter what the situation is, I have seen a lot of people say, oh, I can get them to do what I want to do, and I'll get what I want. They think that. They foolishly think that. But they are very terribly wrong. Because that is not the way the demonic plies its business. Okay? And so many mysteriously died right before and after COVID was deceased. You think the British royals are reptilians? Let me say this, okay, and I'm going to be addressing this in the seminar. There are certain bloodlines in this world that go all the way back to the fallen. And who are the fallen? The fallen are the reptilians, folks. That's what they are. That's what we're talking about now. That's what I'm going to be talking about in my seminar. That's who the fallen truly are. Okay? So when you hear reports of people seeing these alien eyes, these reptilian eyes or the reptilian tongues, and I'm not talking about the thing, I mentioned that to Jessica today. You know, there is an operation. You can fork your tongue and have it fixed that way. I'm talking about real snake tongues here, real reptilian tongues that are a foot long. And they're, okay, I'm not talking about that cosmetic stuff. Now, that's who the real fallen are. The fallen reptilians are the same thing, folks. They're the fallen angels. That's what they are. Pure and simple. And that's what we're going to be talking about at the seminar. The fallen, and they are rising again. Even as I speak here right now tonight. They are on the rise. They're rising up with the bloodlines of the Nephilim. And that's what all these old family bloodlines, that includes the royal family, okay? All these old ancient bloodlines have been infected with the DNA of the Nephilim for a long time. Why do you think, have you ever asked yourself, why did God want to keep the Jewish people separate from everybody? Why did he want to keep them away from the Gentiles and the mixing up of the different races? Why did he do that? He had a purpose for that, folks. I'm not going to get in that tonight. I'm saving that for the seminar. He had a purpose and a reason for that. God does not do anything in this universe without a reason or plan behind it. It just don't happen, okay? And there is a reason for that, absolutely. But that is a little talk tonight on the reptilians, okay? And like I say, this is a little bit of a prelude to the seminar, okay? John Foreman, do you think it's true that the controllers are looking for someone, that they collect blood tests from every baby looking for someone? If so, who? Looking for one person or for a lineage? It could be for lineages, if that is true. There's something about the DNA, but let me say this, okay? And I'll be very emphatically say this. The blood is the life, and it all comes down to the blood. Whenever you hear that red flag come up, blood, okay, you better pay attention, because these things run on that. Blood sacrifices, blood inclusion, the spilling of blood, the ingesting of blood, so on and so on. It's the blood, 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 blood. That's all you hear. The blood is the life, and it is a distinct tie to the spiritual. Okay? Absolutely. And these things are looking for blood, perhaps different blood types. Maybe they're looking for their own type of blood types. They're looking for whatever the situation is. They have their secrets that we don't know about. But there's a reason for the things that they're doing. Absolutely. And it's not just the blood. It's not just the ingestion of that. It is also cannibalism and all this other stuff that goes along with it. Well, I won't get into that now. I'm saving that for the seminar. It might be my last seminar, folks. Because this is going to go very deep and very, very dark. Okay, get ready for it. It's going to be very dark, and deep. That's what we're going to be talking about. All right. So yes, let's see. Kathleen Michael got a red line next to my name, and the text was blocked out. There are certain forces out there listening to us right now that does not want us to talk about these subjects. You know, I'm gonna tell you this. You remember the show we did Friday night with the blessing things? I got hit. I got hit spiritually hard after that because they did not like what I did that night. But that's okay. I understand. I was doing the right thing if I got hit, but I came under some very heavy spiritual attack after that show. Okay, I was expecting it though. I knew it was probably going to come down that way because they don't want you to know these things. They don't want you to bless objects. They don't want you to know how to protect yourself against this negative. They don't want that. And when people like me or like Jessica and some other people, we come out against these things. We give you ways to protect yourself. Oh, they hate that. There are certain subjects they do not want us to talk about. But you know what, folks? That ain't going to stop me one bit. As long as I got breath in my body. They picking on the wrong guy, okay? They're messing with the wrong fella. I'm not getting it because I've been attacked by the best, okay? I know how it goes. But it's never good. It's never good, no matter which way you look at him. Absolutely. Thank you, Crystal. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed out there. Please do so. Thank you. We're almost approaching 740 now. So let's keep going, folks. We're getting there. Okay. And like I say, if any of you decide you want this medallion of the 7 archangels, I would advise you to think seriously about maybe getting it. It might help you a lot. And if you want me to, I will. I feel like it would be a good thing that I will bless these objects for you. If you would like me to do that, let me know. Okay. And if you would like to get one of these blessed, I will do that as well. It's like your saying goes, devil isn't bothering you. He has you. Absolutely. When the devil knocks you down, get back up because you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing is the right thing. Okay, that's just the way that goes. But we people who do these things, we realize that that's part of the price you pay. That's part of the price you pay for pushing back against the darkness because it's going to push back on you sometimes. That's just the way it goes. And it can do it in different ways. It can do it through other people. It can do it through situations. It can do it through illness. It can do it through curses. It can do it through, I've had several death curses put on me. You can do it different ways. It will push back against you in different ways. And that's why I'm going to be talking this Friday night on cursed objects, devil traps, demon snares, and all this other stuff. We need to talk about that. So I'm probably going to get hit again, okay? But that's okay. It's part of the territory, okay? I'm going to do what I got to do, you know? But anyway, for your courage. Well, thank you, Kathleen, for your support. I want to thank all of you for your support. It is great. That's what keeps me going, okay? It does help keep me going to a certain extent. But there's some other things going on that you guys do not know about, and I'm not sharing with you right now. But there's some other things going on, and that are pushing back against me. But your support goes a long ways to help me spiritually and mentally, okay? And I want to thank you for that because you do not know what a great service you are doing. And you need your support for hunting the shadows and the road less traveled and and paranormal point of view is always greatly appreciated without a doubt. Okay. And like I said before, we are not just a podcast, we're a family. Okay. Thank you, Shiro, and thank all of you out there tonight. And I appreciate you sticking with me through the reptilians. I know we touched a little bit upon it, but I'm saving some really good, juicy stuff for the 2-hour seminar, okay? So you can be ready for that when it comes down the line. That'll be June 26th. And like I say, if you want any of this merchandise, you want to support this channel, that's DennisWCarroll@gmail.com. Okay, that's the email. Send me your requests. Send me your addresses, whatever you want to do. Send that to me. Or if you just want to ask a piece of advice, or you want to give me an observation, tell me something, whatever, you can always reach me either through my website, DennisWCarroll.com. You see it on the ticker down there. Or DennisWCarroll@gmail.com. Okay. I hope that's easy to remember. Don't forget the Dennis W. Carroll. Okay. Part of it. But anyway, thank you, Ida. I want to thank all of you. Thank you, Kathleen and Jiro and Girl on Her Gong. That's my good friend, Girl on Her Gong. And I want to thank Aussie Sue, all the rest of you, Ida, all the rest of you for being here tonight. And I hope you take a little knowledge away from the night. That'll be a good thing. Okay, absolutely. And I look forward to when we get together again Friday night, if nothing happens. Paranormal point of view, cursed objects. Okay, I'm going to talk about some of the very famous and very unknown. Some of them are unknown cursed objects that are out there. But also we're going to talk about some things that you definitely not want to pick up and take home with you. We're going to be talking about those kind of cursed objects as well. I want to keep you all forewarned and forearmed against the darkness. The shadows are closing in around us closer every day. We've got to be careful. We got to be smart. And we got to be ready. Okay? All right? So I'm looking forward to when we get together again. And until we do, remember that what I always end with, omnia exuit in mysterium. That means all things end in mystery. And until we get together again, vaya con Dios.